Coming up on Backyard Science, constructing a gravity-defying roller coaster.
A brilliant way to avoid taking a bus when you've got better things to do.
And Operation Heartbeat, surgery guaranteed to make your blood pump faster. Capture images of a lifetime with your own homemade camera.
Plastic drinking cups take on a whole new shape of their own.
And can an egg carton really learn to fly?
But first, if you're one of the snap-happy gang who loves flicking through photo albums,
Or pointing the camera in someone else's direction,
then we've got a brand new backyard photographic experience coming right up.
Every day brings new events. And as usual, world-famous photographer Daniela will be on assignment ready to capture them. Images of joy. Images of action. And the photographer's greatest challenge, the reluctant subject. I can tell her now that it wasn't her best side. Good thing there's no film. Amazingly, the first cameras didn't use film either. In fact, I think I should make a camera and show Sophie how clever it was.
What's Ben up to now? Wow, a pyramid. That's original. Not. But it does give me an idea of something really spectacular. What would happen if we joined hundreds of these cups? 200 or 300? Whoa, this could be huge. Now, we're going to join all the cups together and see what we get. This is going to need a heap of masking tape. Use the tape to stick the cups together, back to back, and then tape over the rim. Silly. Back to work. The base will hold together better if we tape all across the bottoms. You get going on your lot, and we'll join them up later. Brilliant! It's starting to take shape. Although exactly what it is, I'm not quite sure. How do I look?
Hey, you might be better at head-biting the balloon, but I can make it do a magic trick. I can turn this into a water-loving balloon. Come on! Turn on the tap. Hold the string steady. The balloon is attracted to the water all on its own. I'll show you again. See? It just can't keep away from that water.
The rushing water moves the air around. The side of the balloon near the water has low air pressure. The other sides of the balloon have higher pressure air, so the balloon is pushed towards the stream of water.
Cool, eh? I knew you'd be impressed. Hooray!
I can just imagine what's going to happen to Ben when Daniela catches him.
if she gets her camera working, I reckon we'll see Ben's picture hanging in a rogue's gallery somewhere.
The camera we're going to make could take a photo, but I don't have any film or photographic paper. That's okay though. The first cameras didn't use film, so we don't need any to get this camera working. We start by painting the inside of a cardboard box black. Now make a tube from black cardboard and tape the magnifying glass to the end of the tube. How cool is that? On the front of the box, cut a round hole so the tube slides in snugly. Now we'll cover the open end with tracing paper. That's going to be like our film. Tape a black drape around the tracing paper. Now this is exactly like the very first cameras. When you point it, the image of an object appears on the tracing paper. Notice something strange? It's upside down and back to front.
That's because light moves in a straight line. When it goes through a small hole, it travels like this. So, at the back of the camera, the image is upside down and reversed.
We're nearly done. Just a bit more fine-tuning and we can start snapping.
These days, cameras are everywhere. Surveillance cameras, webcams, speed cameras, helmet cams, satellite spy cameras. They're our eyes to the world.
Flying eggs, catch! There aren't any eggs inside, duh! But this material's gotta be light enough to fly. What do you reckon? Nope, this calls for a Top Gun plane design. We're gonna need my secret wing-shaped design and some scissors, masking tape, coins, and a texture. We just lay the shape on the lid. Now, trace around the shape. Design critical here. Make sure the edges go up the sides of the box. Now we cut along the line. See? The wingtips curve with the lid edges. Reinforce the front edges with some sticky tape. Now for a pilot. Cash only. Stick it in the cockpit and tape it down. Is that not the coolest looking plane you've ever seen? Launch time for our egg box super glider. Geez, that pilot's not too good. Second time lucky, maybe. That's better.
The glider flies because there's a good balance between the wing shape that gives it lift and the weight of the coin that improves the glider's stability. The clever wingtips add that extra manoeuvrability.
I'll give Margot a go. Like girls are any good with planes. Watch this, she'll never get it off the ground. Beginner's luck.
Aircraft that look just like a flying wing have been around for a long time. The most famous is the B-2 stealth aircraft that has its engines tucked away inside its wings. Because it doesn't have a tail like other planes, the B-2 slices through the air more easily and can travel enormous distances before it needs refueling.
Believe it or not, our plastic cups are actually coming together. It's taking a bit of time and a lot of tape, but it looks like it's turning into a humongous ball. The segments are fitting together perfectly. More tape. Don't want it falling apart now.
The reason Sophie and Ben's cups are forming a ball is because if you look closely, they're actually cones with a sharp bit missing. When cones join together, they form a sphere.
The last piece goes in, and finally, a plastic cup ball. Not bad, huh, Ben? Better than your silly old pyramid. At least you can play with this. But don't drop it.
That was so cool! Fancy making a big ball out of plastic cups!
Well, just wait until you see what Angelique and Priscilla do with strips of paper.
There's loads of really brilliant things you can do with lengths of paper. It could be a headband, or a bracelet, a funny hat, a moustache, or a belt. Or you could make what's called a Mobius strip. All you need is tape, scissors and paper. Cut out a strip of paper about this wide. Really important now. Twist the strip once and then stick the two ends together. And that's what we call a Mobius strip. And that's just the start of the fun. If you start drawing a line down the middle of the strip and keep going, you'll come back to where you started. But you'll find your line goes on both sides of the strip. That's because the Mobius strip has only got one side. Now cut down the middle of the strip. Instead of getting two separate strips, the Mobius strip becomes one long strip. Brilliant! If you start cutting a third of the width across and keep cutting, the cut actually goes around twice before ending up back at the starting point. And the band separates into two strips. One of them is twice as long as the other. And they're linked together. Isn't the Mobius strip amazing?
Our camera seems to be working really well. But even though you can tell it's a flower, it's still a bit fuzzy. That's why we need our magnifying glass. By moving it in and out, we can make the image sharper by bringing it into focus. Now to take a photo like they did in the old days, through sketching. I wonder if Sophie would let me do her portrait. Relax. Just sit over there and look into the camera. Leave the sketching to me.
No sketching needed these days with digital cameras. They show us an image immediately. The hard work now is deciding whether to keep the shot or not.
Hey, it's working! Sophie's image is being projected through the camera and onto the tracing paper. All I have to do is trace the outline of Sophie's face and we'll have a world-class portrait. You'd hardly call it an instant camera, would you? Guess I won't be taking your graduation photos then.
Hi gang, marbles again. I think it's time we tried something a bit more cool. I reckon we could make a marble do a complete loop through the air. Let's make a really big roller coaster. Come on! All we need is some piles of books, some thin cardboard, masking tape and scissors. Right team, let's cut the cardboard into strips. About 2 fingers wide should do it, and as long as your forearm. They can be joined together to make curves in the longer track. And we can start stacking these books into piles. They'll be our hills and valleys. Don't stop now! This is going to be the coolest roller coaster ever! Oh no, Mum started running my bath. Last time I kept reading my book while it was filling up and it overflowed. I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen this time. I'll need to take a few things with me for this. Now, while I'm totally absorbed in my book, I need to make sure the water doesn't overflow. And believe it or not, this balloon will help me do just that. First I measure the depth of the bath with some ribbon and tie it to the plug. While the bath is filling up, all I have to do is sit back and keep reading. Sophie's clever trick works because the air inside the balloon is lighter than the water surrounding it. As the water increases, it creates a constant upward force on the balloon. And when that force becomes greater than the one keeping the plug in the plug hole, something gives. Now I'll just pop in the plug and relax in the bath. Great bath, now back to my great book. Okay, Sharmini and I are getting creative. Oh no, there's nothing worse than running out of paint when that artistic urge hits. But with a bit of clever concocting, I can make my own colourful paints. Just wait, you'll love it. Yes, you'll need a brick and a hammer, some craft glue, a saucepan, a couple of eggs, water, a spoon, and some safety glasses. I need a break after all that.
Can't wait to see how those two are going to make paint out of all that stuff.
Well, I can't wait to see how that roller coaster's coming along.
Right, these cardboard strips are going to be our tracks. They're bent in the middle so our marble will stay on course. Now let's start joining our tracks together. Stick them down so they don't wobble all over the place. We need to make some serious ups and downs here. If this is going to be the roller coaster ride of the century, the sky's the limit. Hills, valleys, curves, turns. Keep going till we run out of ideas. Or cardboard. Time for a test run. The hardest part might be the hill climb. Our marble is going to need some oomph. Maybe it needs more of a run-up. Stand back. Wow, it sure goes. Looking good, gang. More turns and curves than you can poke a stick at. How cool is it? And now for the ultimate roller coaster experience, our 360-degree death-defying loop. Go, designers! You'll need tape and more cardboard and... yes, you've done it! A super loop! Now for the big finish. A ramp at the end, so the marble flies right off the tracks. Good job, you design supremos! Right, now let's see what happens at the bottom. Oh, we're going to need something to catch our marble. Grab a can! Now just put the can at the end. Not quite. Good try. Yes! Now a test drive for our very own backyard Big Dipper.
I can't make up my mind. Which is my favourite time of year? I love autumn. The leaves are all pretty reds and yellows. And they fall everywhere. But I also love spring. The leaves are gorgeous and green. But I've never understood how the same leaf can be green in spring and red and yellow in autumn. I'm gonna find out. I'll grind up this leaf and tip in a teaspoon of Mum's nail polish remover. That should get the colour out. Now I'll just cut up a piece of coffee filter paper. Dip it into my leaf colour. Pop it into a plastic cup with a bit of rubbing fluid in it. And wait. Oh look! The rubbing fluid has travelled up the filter paper and separated all the colours out. I was right. Red, yellow and brown were hiding in there. They were just covered up by the green.
Pigments that give leaves their colour are always present in a leaf. But during spring and summer, a green pigment called chlorophyll covers up all the other colours.
That's it. Now I've decided. Autumn is my favourite time of year. Because that's when the leaves put all their hidden colours on display. Nice going, tree.
Hey, that's amazing. I always wondered how leaves manage to create all those incredible colours.
Yep, and I'm still curious about how our budding artists are going to be putting colours into their very strange-looking paint.
Shamini and I have run out of paint, and now we're all set to make our own. Right, first up, let's get destructive. Smash off some of the bricks and crush it all up. Now add a tablespoon of water Hey, wait a minute. Now Shamini reckons she's the expert paint maker. Okay, she's come up with some chalk. That's interesting. Some chalk, water, and glue. Wow, that colour looks great. Now to really get cracking. And just a squeeze of glue.
What Liam and Shamini have done is creatively scientific. To mix paint perfectly, you need a pigment, like the brown from the brick, and something for it to bond to, like the egg yolk. Together, these two substances form the perfect partnership when you mix them together. Get the picture?
Now to turn our homemade paints into world-class art.
Today we will be performing open heart surgery. It's a new operation here to work out just how the heart beats. Nurse, I need my instruments. Scissors, check. Straw, check. Another one. Balloon, check. Food colouring, check. Cup, check. Skewer, check. Water, check. And most important of all, a sponge. Check. Let's get going then. Fill a large bowl with water nearly to the top. Thanks, nurse. Take the half-full cup of water and tip in some red food colouring. Looks like blood. Now a balloon. Small incision here. Then stretch it over the cup. Over to nurse for the important bit. It's our heart valve. Twist a rubber band tightly around the balloon. These flaps of balloon material will open and close as blood goes through the straw. Cut the straws to length. Pierce the surface of our heart in two places. Insert one artery with the balloon on the end, the other straw on the other side of the heart. Okay, nurse, it's time to see how our heart pumps. Place the heart into a bowl of water. This will be our body. Good! When we press down, blood is pushed out through the valve. See? When we lift up, the balloon flaps close and the blood can't flow back into the cup. So that's how our heart keeps blood flowing in one direction around our bodies. I think it's nurse's job to care for the patient after the operation. Open heart surgery is so exhausting. Well, somebody's got to keep that heart pumping.
Incredible! Our backyard medical team sure created a pretty funky beating heart.
Speaking of heart pumping action, I think it's time we headed back to the roller coaster where that marble is getting ready to roll.
Drivers, in your seats. We're almost set for the first ever attempt at the gravity-defying backyard Big Dipper. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, take off! Great start! Up the hill with ease. Cornering beautifully. Will it make the loop? Yes! Now the tunnel. Yes! Down the back straight. And into the can.
Once a smooth round object like the marble starts rolling, it'll keep going unless something stops it. The marble has what's called inertia. The only thing to slow the marble down are other forces, like friction, which slows the marble as it runs along the track, or the force of gravity, which slows the marble as it goes uphill.
Well, with the success of our backyard Big Dipper, I think we're a force to be reckoned with.
Oh, that's it! I'm off to make my own raging roller coaster. That marble was really going.
Sure was, and it's time we were going too, because we've reached the end of another backyard science.
Bye for now. on Backyard Science, using fake flowers to beat butterflies at their own game.
The mysterious colours of the rainbow all around us, but how do they get there?
And look, no hands. How to get an ice cube out of a glass without touching it. Touchdown time for a flying egg. Can there be a soft landing?
Frighten your friends with a monster in a paper bag. Maybe hearing is believing.
And amazing patterns from an ancient paper puzzle. Make your own in a flash. But first...
Look, Jason. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's a...
Can't be. Surely not a flying egg.
Now that's a backyard science mystery we're going to have to crack.
Ty and I are going to try and get some eggs down to Blake without breaking any. Let's try free fall. Oops, this is a stickier problem than we thought. We've got to find a way to soften the landing. Okay, we'll give this a go. Oh dear, not even close. Maybe it's our end that's the problem. We'd better think of something clever before we run out of eggs. One last try then. Here, catch this! Perhaps not. We're going to show you how to make cool pictures like these with an ancient Chinese puzzle called a tangram. You'll need a square piece of paper, some scissors, a felt tip pen and a ruler. Start by drawing a dividing line from top left to bottom right. Fold the top corner over to that line and make a crease. Draw along this crease parallel to your first line. Next, draw a line down the middle between the two parallels. Fold the tip of your card into the corner you've just created. Flatten out the line and draw down it. Now make a fold along the widest diagonal. Draw a line down the crease to the centre. Fold the long side into the centre point you've created. Draw along the crease so you create a triangle. Now you've got all the elements of a tangram. Okay, start cutting.
A tangram has 7 pieces, 5 different sized triangles, 1 square and 1 parallelogram. But with these 7 shapes, you can make thousands of other shapes, like a bird, or a boat, or even a rabbit. Pretty cool, huh?
That's odd. A rabbit? I'm sure I left a bird here on the table. Now that's a puzzle. I'm going to give Angelique the surprise of her life. I'm making out there's a monster insect trapped in this bag. I'll only fool her if she has a listen. Good. Hearing is believing. She thinks that's his huge feet. She's imagining colossal antennae and mighty munching sounds.
Here's something worth knowing about sound. It travels much better through a solid like paper than it does through air. Even the tiniest scratches are much louder than we normally hear.
So that can trick your brain into thinking the smallest bug is the biggest monster. Oh, it's so scary.
Just goes to show that things aren't always as scary as they seem to be.
I don't know, Dana. If I was facing the fate of one of Ty and Margot's flying eggs, I'd be petrified.
Our attempt to get eggs down to Blake without breaking any is failing miserably. We've tried everything. I think we need a parachute. Get some garbage bags, tape, scissors, string, and some plastic cups. Ty will make a small parachute. I'll make a big one. Just cut out a square. Then you'll need 4 pieces of string, all the same length. They'll be the suspension lines. Stick one of these to each corner of the plastic square. Then attach them to your cup. Put the precious cargo in the cup. Which will float best? The big one or the small one? Right, we're ready to test. 1, 2, 3, bombs away! The small parachute's much faster than the larger one. Small one? Crash landed. Oh, so did the large one. Back to the drawing board.
A parachute slows an object's fall. It fills up with air and creates a lot of wind resistance, or drag. You need enough drag to overcome most of gravity's pull and slow the descent.
What can we do to make our parachute even slower? Maybe the suspension lines are the problem.
Most skydivers jump from planes at about 4 kilometers above the ground. They fall freely for about a minute. Then they pull the ripcord to release their parachutes. That slows them from a speed of almost 200 to less than 20 kilometers an hour in about 3 seconds. Now that's some air brake.
I'm going to find out the best way to get butter stains off clothes. And Blake's my test dummy. A pretty reluctant one too. Come on. Good, got the shirt. Now to test what gets these stains out. Okay, I've got lemon, I've got onion, and I've got milk. First the lemon. Just rub it in. Not really working. Now the onion. Rub that in too. Not much better. And now for the milk. Just a slurp. Ah, yes. He's got no idea what's going on. To get the stain out, you need to dissolve it. And the rule goes, like dissolves like. The butter stain is basically fat. There's no fat in lemons, no fat in onions either. But milk, it has loads of fat. It dissolved the butter best of all. There you go, problem solved. Now he knows how to get butter stains out.
I've set Ben a challenge. He's got to fold a square of paper into a shape that'll make a bang when you flick it. No, that's not right. Making shapes out of paper is called origami. It looks more like agony the way Ben's doing it, but he's pretty determined. Keep folding, Ben. Nope, that's not it either. Looks like he's run out of ideas. Time for the expert to step in. He's not going to find any answers in a book. I'll show him how to do it. Take a piece of stiff paper, say 30 by 40 centimeters. Watch carefully. Fold the long edges of the paper together, then open it again. Now fold all of the corners to meet at the crease. Fold the paper in half along the first fold, then fold it in half lengthways. Looking good, Ben. Fold down the 2 sharp corners. Now fold the paper back along the second fold to make a triangle shape. Like this. Now for the fun part. Hold it by the 2 sharp corners. But how does it work? Like this.
When the paper banger is flicked, a flap of paper springs out. This produces a sudden and large movement of air, forming a sound wave. Lightning is another big banging sound that's caused by movement of air. We hear it as thunder. A lightning flash heats the air so that it expands suddenly, sending a powerful sound wave through the air. Love that origami paper banger. That's what I call ingenious.
I think Margot and Ty had better come up with something ingenious before they run out of eggs.
I think the answer to making our parachute go slower might be in the suspension line. I'm going to make them twice as long. In goes our test pilot. Whoa! Yes, that's good. 1, 2, 3. Uh-oh! There's a crosswind! It's landed in enemy territory! Careful, Blake! At least it landed safely, so the longer strings did slow it down. At last we're on the right track, but how can we improve the steering? Now what do real parachutes do? I've got it! Vents!
Vents in parachutes help skydivers steer by letting air escape out one side of the canopy. They increase the rate of descent a bit, but they provide stability in windy conditions.
We'll need to make 2 hand-sized cuts in the parachute. Right, here it is, our last hope. Let's see if the vents do the trick. 1, 2, and 3. And off she goes! A perfect landing! Yes! We did it! Wow, look at that butterfly! I've got to show this to Sodom. Hey, where did it go? There must be a way to make him come back. I know butterflies go searching for pollen and nectar to eat. They find it in flowers. I've got an idea about how to get him back. Sophie and I have set ourselves a challenge. We have to get our ice cubes out of our glasses without touching the ice with our fingers. First, the chopstick lift. Nope. Now the sticky tape trick. Hopeless. What about the toothpick extraction? Nah. Now we're stumped. What's left that hasn't been tried? Well, we've got some salt. And there's this thread. This is going to need some thought. We're onto something here. Drape on the thread. Then sprinkle the salt on the ice cube. Wait a minute. Then lift.
When salt is sprinkled on, it melts the ice for just a second. But within a minute or two, the cube refreezes, trapping the string firmly enough so it can hold the weight of the ice block.
We've got rid of our ice cube, but now our water's too salty to drink. Lucas thinks he's really good at hide and seek. But he'll never find me this time. Uh-oh, tickle in my nose. Here it comes again. frustrating. I've got to find out what makes me sneeze.
I love this music. It's so cool. A rainbow. How did that happen? Let's see how many colours there are. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo and violet. I don't get it. Sunlight's white. But all these different colours are on the paper. That means the colours come off the CD. Or are there different colours in light? Which is it?
White light is made up of lots of colours that we see when it separates. Sometimes when it rains, white light is split up by water droplets to form a rainbow. The same thing happens with bubbles. As white light travels through the watery wall of the bubble, the colours separate. And these colours are visible because tiny ridges on the metal coating of the CD have made white light split up too.
It's a whole world of colour.
Those rainbow colours are so beautiful. Pity the bubbles just drift away and disappear.
Well, maybe if they're a bit more like butterflies, there'd be a way to persuade them to come back.
Butterflies and other insects are attracted to flowers. That's where they get their food. So maybe if we make our own flowers, we'll be able to attract that one back. Down to work. We'll do a white flower first. Draw some petal shapes. And cut them out. Let's make a red flower too. Good idea. The middle should look as much like pollen as possible. Finished! No butterfly in the world could resist these beautiful flowers. Now we wait.
Flowers have different colours depending on the type of insect they want to attract to spread their pollen. Butterflies are often attracted to red flowers.
The flowers aren't attracting anything. Not even the red one. I think we're doing something wrong. Looks like Sodom's got an idea. According to the book, allergies and sneezing occur when your body overreacts to things floating in the air. What things are floating in the air? I can't see anything, but maybe there's a way I can. I'll need card, hole punch, sticky petroleum jelly and some string. First I'll punch holes in the card, some string to hold the cards up. Now, I'll spread the gooey jelly over the cards. Okay, I'll hang them in the garden. Now I might find out what makes me sneeze all the time.
Look at those fantastic swirling patterns. They look fantastic. But water's a clear liquid. Patterns are hard to see. I'm going to try and make the swirling patterns in the liquid more visible. I know. Food colouring. I'll fill up a bucket with water. Add a few drops of food colouring. Pour it all in and watch how it swirls away. Well, it looks sensational, but the water's still too thin to see all the swirling patterns. I wonder if there's a way I can keep the patterns still and see them really close up. I need to slow the swirling down. Yes, liquid soap. Maybe it's too thick. Better add some water. Not too much or all the soap will turn to foam. Put the lid back on. Time for the great experiment. Cool! I can finally see lots more patterns in the liquid. I knew it.
The liquid soap contains a chemical that gives the soap a nice pearly shiny look. It holds together even though the water is swirling around. That shows up all those patterns you'd never normally see in crystal clear water.
Who'd have thought a bottle of liquid soap could be a pattern-making machine?
Who'd have thought all those invisible patterns were floating around all that time right under our noses?
You've just got to find a way of seeing them, I guess. Which reminds me, I wonder if Priscilla's been able to find out what's been floating in the air and making her sneeze.
Time to see if my cards have collected anything floating in the air. I'm sure there's lots of junk, but I'm not sure what it is. Better have a close-up look. Dust! Pollen from plants. Pollen from some tree. Oh, yuck! I think that's dandruff! Ugh. There must be hundreds of bits of pollen and junk in the air. No wonder I sneezed. But now I know of a foolproof way to beat that junk in the air. My face mask has beaten the allergens and Lucas. Breakfast, the most important meal of the day. So Mum and Dad tell us. But do you know what you're eating every morning? I bet James wonders what I'm up to. Yeah, thought he'd think I was nuts. Okay, not like this. But you probably eat some metal yourself every morning. Honest. Watch this. Take your regular cereal, put it into a bowl and cover it with water. Mash it up with a spoon for a while. Then when you've reduced it to a pulp, grab a magnet. Stir around the bottom. Now look closely at the end of the magnet. That's iron! It really is. Can't see it? I'll make it easier for you. I'll rub it on this paper. Still can't see it. Hang on, I'll get a magnifying glass. That's iron, it really is. Our bodies need it to make blood.
That's why if you look at the ingredients on some cereal packets, they'll have tiny pieces of iron or iron stuff added to the mix. Cleverer still, drinking orange juice at the same time helps your body absorb it better.
Hey, I never knew that when I'm eating cereal, I'm actually pumping iron.
Hey, slow down, big guy. Take some time to smell the roses. And I wonder what's happening with Joseph and Sonam's fake flowers.
Sonam thinks she knows where we're going wrong. Real flowers smell. They have a scent to attract the insects. Honey dissolved in water with a touch of perfume. The perfume to attract them and the honey to feed them, just like real nectar. Now we wait for a while. Look, a butterfly! And another one! It looks like she's eating our nectar! Our fake flowers have attracted the butterflies.
Wow, what a great way to get a close-up look at beautiful butterflies. Too bad they didn't hang around.
Well, when you've got a flit, you've got a flit. And we've reached the end of another Backyard Science, so we're going to flit too. See you next time.